Hey everybody. So coming to you with another Facebook Live, this time actually with an interview with my first mentor and coach, Jeffrey. And he was very generous with his time. He's got a very productive schedule, and he was willing to jump on here and say a few words and give some advice. And I'm going to bring Jeff on right now. Let's see if this cooperates. And I'm just grateful that he gave some of his time today. So we're going to get right into it when he does pop on. So for those that are tuning in,
Jeffrey, how are you, Scott?
I'm great. How are you?
Can you hear me okay? You're going to get me something to raise this up. I am doing outstanding. Just 1 second. I'm going to get something to raise my situation up. I haven't done calls like this, but it's only taking me a second.
Absolutely. And Jeff, are you hearing feedback on your side or no?
No, I'm good.
Okay, good.
I'm good. Can you hear me?
I think so.
I'm ready.
I think so. All right, we got some people jumping on. So, Jeff, we can go back and read the comments later. First, it's been a while. Great to see you. It's been a while.
It has definitely been a while.
And you were instrumental in my personal development, letting go of my past situations to allow me to step into my own power and continue to live the life that I deserve.
Thank you. I want to make sure that the people watching know that I want to give you a little edification. So I had the privilege of meeting you like 5 years ago, Scott, 2014. I remember like yesterday when you hired me. You and I met through another mutual acquaintance of ours at one of my events, and you hired me to be your coach. Now, I knew immediately you had a lot of talent, and I was able to be your coach for about 2 years. So I got to watch the Scott Aaron next level of transformation. When I met you, you were already successful. So I watched you become a lot more successful than you were successful. I watched you really take your career, your brand, and your business ventures to the next level. I watched you really transition. I was part of it, but you were also a great student. And not only you're a great student, but then I watched you take your brand to a whole nother level 3 years ago as you became one of the premier LinkedIn coaches in America, the world, on specific niches on how to get leads online. So it's my unequivocal privilege to meet you. I've done many events. You've also spoken. You've been a keynote speaker at my event. So absolute privilege to be here with you today.
Well, thank you, Jeffrey. And we have limited time, so I want to get straight into it. So I have some big questions, but that's okay because that's what you do best with. Why do you feel it's so hard for people to let go of their past story?
All right, that's a great question. So you're an expert in many modalities of training. Then LinkedIn has become like one of your callings. I mean, it's not your only thing you're good at, but so what my niche is addictions and sobriety. It's really my niche. I built my career around selling, coaching, closing sales. But what my niche is letting go. So letting go is my ability to separate my feelings from events. So why that's challenging for most people, number one, is they live in repressed feelings. Repressed means the feelings they don't remember, they don't understand. The body remembers everything. The brain retains little. So if you've been traumatized, violated, sexually abused, neglected, rejected, abandoned, beaten, there's a high probability that you don't recall all of it, and you've, in an outer body experience, checked out of it. So a lot of what we do is we hold on to what we don't know. So we hold on to a series of events. We don't understand how to separate our feelings from events. We become neurochemically addicted to a set of feelings. And this is a child. We become addicted to a set of feelings. We perpetuate the same set of feelings throughout our life, attracting to our reality the same situations to fulfill those feelings. This is the very reason why so many people can have a job, because in a job, you don't have to, your self-esteem isn't at stake. When you start a business and you're required to attract people to you, but you're not good enough, it becomes the ultimate contradiction. So we tend to hold on to what's familiar. This is why I coach a woman who's leaving one marriage, and while she's leaving another marriage, she attracts another man who's in the same situation to fulfill the same set of feelings. This is what most people do. They sabotage their success to fulfill a neurochemical craving they're emotionally addicted to. And then the reason we don't let go is because no one really understands it. No one really teaches that letting go is a context. There's a context to letting go, then there's an application. Well, there's no books written on it. There's very few people that speak on it. And letting go is a skill set that when mastered, then I'm always letting go, always letting go. But if I'm always overwhelmed and I'm always unorganized and I'm always late and I'm always not good enough, then you can't let go of that always.
What is
one thing
someone can do
if they've never worked with you before?
What is the
What is
step
the step that they can take to
starting
to let go
of what
of what doesn't serve them?
As simple as it sounds, a longer breath cycle. I mean, this may sound, but so this is like on video, this is what it looks like. This is how most of society is. So they're in a flexed flinch state of fight or flight. They're worried, they're overwhelmed, they're in anxiety, they're in fear and doubt. So their body holds on to the muscle memory of the events that shape the feeling. So it shows up in their structure like this. And so they tend to drop a shoulder, raise the shoulder, they protrude their abdomen, and their breath cycle is primarily right here. So an abdominal breathing, a breath cycle, begins to change the neurons that wire and fire in the brain. So this sounds too simple for most of society, but learning how to really breathe in a longer cycle, practicing a deeper breath, an abdominal breath, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 times a day, it starts to oxygenate the brain and separates the neurons that wire and fire so they don't have the same shelf life. That's number one. Number two, monitor your word choices. Your sentence structure and the way you communicate will dictate the actions because words are law. So when you tell yourself, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, you're not committing. Put the word commitment in your sentence structure more frequently. Be aware of how the rest of the population speaks. Most of the population says guess, kinda, sorta, I don't know. Their sentence structure is non-committal. This is how most of society speaks. These are the simple basics. And then there's a book called Letting Go by David Hawkins, a game-changing book. But it's not a book you read, it's a book you study for 10 years. I'm on year number 10 of that book. 10 years of that book. I've been studying Hawkins for 15 years. That type of content is not something you read and take notes on. It's context and application. So for you to let go, what you're really letting go, so if you want to let go of alcohol, that's not really what you let go of. Letting go of the events that shape the feelings are what you start to let go of. Because if not, you'll just keep sabotaging yourself over and over. You can actually become clean and sober, or you can actually diet and have the physique you want. But if you don't address the feelings that you hold on to, then you'll recreate the same situation over and over to fulfill the same feelings.
Why do you
feel it's so hard for people to let go and move forward?
Because they're addicted. Well, they're addicted to it neurochemically, and it would change their identity. So, I did this, I've coached 8 hours today. So already several of my clients today were telling me how hard it's going to be to let go. In reality, the way they live is very difficult. The mail's on the desk, it gets piled up. I'm always overwhelmed. I'm always behind. This is how someone was speaking to me today. So they actually think that's normal. So living a life that is more relaxed, that is more in a more relaxed body living a life where there's sobriety, there's recovery, that's foreign to an addict because an addict always wants a little more. So someone who's emotionally addicted to a set of feelings typically doesn't consider themselves to be an addict. They're shocked when I point this out to them. They're addicted to disappointment. So that success contradicts averageness. Recovery contradicts being an addict. So an addict can't see recovery because they perceive it to be so difficult. So they will stay in what they perceive to be familiar. That's why they'll recreate the same relationships over and over to fulfill the same feelings. They can't see themselves having a normal relationship. That would be out of character.
So the big thing that I've learned from you is that every day you have the choice to create life for yourself. And a lot of people get stuck in that story and they speak things into existence. And what I learned from you is that your word is your law. What you say, what you feel is what you become. So what is something other than the breathing? If someone has this old story, these old habits, what is the easiest way for them to break it?
Well, once again, breathing, words, but most importantly, a commitment to change. You cannot change what you're not committed to. And commitment is a one day at a time process. You have to be able to separate yourself from instant gratification. If you're an addict, you want instant gratification. You want it right now. That's how most people are. They want something to validate and justify their existence. So you have to learn the word patience. Then acceptance. Accept where you are with gratitude. Practice gratefulness one day at a time and begin to let go process. Letting go is so simple that very few people apply it because it's so simple they want something more difficult and because they're hardaholics. And so many of my clients will say things, well, all I do is just do this? No, it's not justing or jousting. Letting go is your ability to separate your feelings from the events that shape them. There's a simplistic process to it. There's a mechanism to letting go, but until it's understood and actualized, it's theory. And so that's what many people do. They live in the theory of letting go. Well, I did that. I thought I had covered that. I thought I let go of that. Well, if you keep recreating it over and over to fulfill a feeling, then you're neurochemically addicted to the set of feelings that keep you disappointed. That's why you will continue to sabotage anything that would lead to any success, because it would be foreign to who you are. It changes an identity.
Change is very difficult for people, but once you do change,
it's difficult because
your life just gets so much better. That's what I learned.
It's difficult because the body runs the brain. So it goes like this, like this. So your body does this first, and your brain looks at it and goes, oh, yeah, I better get in alignment with that. So this is why at some of my events, I'll ask someone a question, they'll cross their leg. You've seen me do this before. I'll go over and put their leg back in the ground, or I'll ask them a question. The first sound out of their mouth is, yes, or their eye iris goes up and out. So it takes them 3 to 8 seconds in the neocortex of their left brain to actualize what they should say not to get in trouble. That's what most people do. This is why you ask an American what one of their dreams are, and they go, first sound out of the mouth is, they're like thinking what their dream should be. I better make sure that I don't get in trouble stating my dream to someone. I might look guilty. I might look selfish. My dream is to help people. That's what people say. That has no context. That's like it doesn't really have any meaning. There's no shape and there's no form to it. There's nothing tangible. That's what we're supposed to say. We're supposed to be a good Christian, a good Samaritan. Well, that's all part of life, but there's no color to that. There's nothing tangible in it. There's no real deep feeling and meaning. So you'll just stand behind the glass and go, oh my God, I'd like to be successful, but I'm not sure if I can let go of being an addict. It's so uncomfortably comfortable. Now, I take addiction to
the biggest thing
Go ahead.
What's the biggest thing that you had to overcome in your life to date?
Well, it was concurrent. Very, very low self-esteem and being an alcoholic at the same time. I was an alcoholic, a drug addict, a sex addict with no self-esteem. And besides that, anytime you're an addict, you have no self-esteem because you're addicted to a set of feelings that you're not good enough. So You may not be a drug addict or an alcoholic, but you can be an under-earner, underachiever, chronic procrastinator, live in an overwhelmed body. It may not show up in drugs, alcohol, anorexia, bulimia. It often will show up in compulsive under-earning and underachieving. It may show up in chronic debting. But if you're not able to separate your feelings from events, then you'll recreate the same situation. So I had to hit rock bottom. That's not what you should do if you're watching. I ended up getting wheeled into a clinic in a wheelchair after 4 days of being on Demerol. And for me, the pain was great enough. I was so done with it that I never relapsed again, not on drugs, alcohol, or sex. I mean, I relapsed in codependency. I've emotionally relapsed a few million times. I have certain emotions that I relapse back into, but the distance in the duration is very short compared to what it used to be. So a relapse today is seconds, minutes, hours, not days, weeks, months, years.
Greatest personal accomplishment to date.
Sobriety, unequivocally. Nothing is possible for me without sobriety. Money means nothing to me without sobriety. I would have nothing. I would have no success. Being clean and sober on December 17th, 1988, being and staying, that's the greatest accomplishment of my life.
What do you wish for everyone to have more of in their life moving forward into your coaching practice in 2019?
The ability to let go. It's this whole structural foundation of any kind of success principle. If you can't let go of not being good enough, then you'll just keep recreating the same situation over and over. I am committed to teaching the skills of letting go.
How can people get in touch with you? I know you give away free 15-minute coaching sessions, your events. How can they get more of Jeffery Combs?
Well, I offer a free 20-minute coaching call if you have any interest in hiring me. It's not just a free call for everyone, but have some level of interest in changing the quality of your life. You can contact me here on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I prefer Facebook. Send me a Facebook message in Messenger, and I'll return your request quickly, like that.
Jeffery,
grateful for you and your time.
You look great today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So do you.
Got that nice little edge there going right there.
Little bit.
Jeffery,
so grateful
for you,
your time,
your energy, everything you give to the community.
Thank you
so much.
And honored to be here with you today. I was thinking about you the day you reached out to me. It was amazing. Susan Damp is
I was thinking about you, and I'm like, I'm going to just reach out and see if he wants to do something.
Susan Dampier raves about you. Susan and Colleen, they've been my clients for a long time, so thank you for everything. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll definitely connect soon.
So, guys, I know I was echoing. It's just how Facebook Live goes, but I didn't want to do all the talking. I wanted Jeffery to do all the talking. And just to share personal experience, Jeffery was my first business coach, and what he taught me 5 and 6 years ago when we worked together is still paying off to today. It's still things that I find that foundationally come back to move myself forward, because Jeff says that there's relapse all the time. We're always working on bettering ourselves, not for anyone else but ourselves. So you never have it fully figured out. You're always working on it. So I just wanted to say hi to everyone that's coming on here. Hi, Maureen. Hi, Tracy. So guys, please share this with your teams. Share it with your personal page. Let people know about Jeff and about letting go. Even if you listen to his podcast, even if you go to one of his events, take advantage of it, because when you are sick and tired of being sick and tired and you want to start achieving and living the best life possible, you can do it. But sometimes you need some help, and you need some guidance, and you need some coaching, and you need some assistance. So guys, I hope Jeffrey's content was more than helpful. I know it was to me. I can just listen to that man all day long. So Jeffrey, if you're watching, Love and gratitude to you. Thank you so much for everything that you have done for me, continue to do for me, and so many others. And everyone have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.